Hello everybody, my name is Citrus, and today we gotta talk about this new Animal Crossing expansion, this Happy Home Paradise DLC. It came out a couple days ago. It was announced during the October Animal Crossing Direct where they went over the big 2.0 update as well as this new DLC. I'm not gonna cover the free update because there is a lot of stuff in there that I don't feel ready to talk about yet because I really have just touched the surface of everything that the update has brought with like Brewster and farming and all this other stuff. Like I just don't feel qualified enough. I'm not enough of an Animal Crossing expert to talk about the update. However, I have been playing a lot of the DLC. It's almost like its own standalone thing where it's like you have your regular Animal Crossing island and then you go do DLC stuff and they're almost completely separate. So I've been playing a lot of that and I feel ready to talk about it. This isn't necessarily a review or a hard, like this is my strict opinion, whatever. I kind of just want to talk about it because I've been enjoying it and I want to let you all know what sort of is entailed in the DLC. Also, I just find the DLC to be more interesting than the update. While the update is cool and it had some new interesting stuff, this DLC, when it was first announced, I was like, what is this gonna be like? Is this gonna, how substantial is this gonna be? Is this gonna be like Animal Crossing Torna, the Golden Country? That was a weird connection to bridge there, but you know what? It makes sense when you really think about it. So Happy Home Paradise is a sort of follow-up to the spin-off game Happy Home Designer, which was on 3DS, except now it's not its own standalone game, it is just an expansion as part of New Horizons. I didn't play Happy Home Designer, so I cannot fully say how similar these two things are, but from what I can tell, the premise is generally the same. You have clients go decorate their houses and make them all nice. You work for Paradise Planning as a realtor. You're trying to sell people vacation homes, and an average workday goes as follows. Magical girl transform into your work uniform. Go to the beach. Pick a villager based on the idea floating up inside their head. Say, hey, do you want a vacation home? To which they will reply, yes, of course I want a vacation home. How did you know? Then you go over their idea in more detail, you pick a spot for their house, and then you get to decorating. It is a very simple concept, but it's really fun. It is the most chill Animal Crossing experience you will get. And that's not to say that the base game is like stressful or anything, but you don't really have to worry about, oh, I need to gather materials in order to craft this stuff, or oh, I need to make sure my tools don't break, or I have enough money to buy this stuff. It's like, there's a lot of things to take into account when you're playing the normal game. Whereas here, you can just pick stuff out of a menu, start placing, dragging, dropping things, and it's all seamless and easy. Now, of course, the hassle of trying to get materials, get money, make sure your tools don't break is kind of part of the charm of Animal Crossing, but this DLC kind of cuts away all that fat and leaves you with, dare I say, the fun part of Animal Crossing. And part of what makes the DLC so effortless and relaxing is the controls. This DLC mode gives you so much control over how to decorate the spaces, if you want to use variations of certain items, if you want to change the time of day or the weather or the season on the island where your house is going to be. It's all readily available and it's all really easy to change and maintain. And the fact that they added that like grid editor thing, usually in the base game you can only do that inside your house, but now you can use it on like the yard and you can start decorating things outside. Genius. It's so good. It makes like decorating the yard area way easier. There are a few limitations from what I've played. You can't terraform your island, which might come later, I'm not really sure. I tried looking it up, but I haven't found anything that suggests that, but I'm not entirely 100% sure. Just from right now, I cannot, add a cliff or make some river pathways in my island. You also don't have every item available to you. The way it works is that as you get more requests and take on more clients, their theme will bring new items. For example, I had to do a house for Allie the alligator, and her house was mushroom themed. So the game gave me a bunch of mushroom themed items, as well as all the other items that I had previously, and I could use those. And then in the future, when I take on new clients, those mushroom items and everything else I have is also there for me to use, just in case, I'm working on a house with a similar theme, and I just figure, this will fit in nicely. And I think this is actually a pretty smart way of handling it, because if they just gave you every item in the game readily available, it would be very overwhelming. This also incentivizes players to, go do more jobs to try and create more variety in their item list, as well as going back to previous houses to renovate things a little bit now that you have new items. And that's another big aspect of this DLC, maintenance. You can go back to islands that you've already worked on or houses that you've already worked on. You can talk to your client, you can be like, hey, is there anything that you would like, you want me to change? Or you yourself can just be like, hey, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna fix your house for you. Even though you don't want it, we're gonna fix this up. It's something that I never would have really thought about doing, but now that it's here, it makes a lot of sense, because now I'm like, oh man, there's certain houses I've done where I'm like, I wish I had this specific item, or I wish, I need like a couch that would fit this theme better, because I don't have one in my item list that works. Then maybe later on I get that, and I can be like, oh, now I can use that in that house by going back there and fixing it up. And it's genius. On top of houses, though, there are also these facilities that you can work on. On the island where you work at, there are these like empty lots, or like houses, that just aren't being used, and you can turn them into different things. And while I haven't gotten very in-depth with this, it's pretty similar to the house decorating mode. You're still just kind of decorating under a new topic, instead of being a house, it is now a school or something else. I've only gotten to the first one, which is a school. So at the end of the day, it's still just decorating in the same manner, but it's in a new light, and variety is always appreciated. I do have a few criticisms with the DLC. You can't exactly lose at decorating. Even if you do like a pretty bad job of decorating the villager's house, they're always gonna love it pretty much, as long as you use the required items that they ask you to use, and you kind of just, fill it up with stuff, don't make it just like an empty house, but like, you put in like minimal effort, and they're gonna be like, wow, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. However, you could argue that that's how Animal Crossing works in general. If you want a 5-star island, you could just fill it up with flowers and trees and all this stuff, and like it might not look nice, but you'll still get 5 stars because the game is just, going down a checklist. It's like, do you have lots of things? Is there a variety of things? And it's like, all right, cool. 5 stars. It's not like the game is not critiquing your actual decorating skills. In that sense, you have to want to make nice looking houses, which I think is kind of the point. I don't think anyone's gonna buy this DLC who hates decorating. The decorating is the whole mode. So if you like that, if you care about that, then you can play this DLC and you can have lots of fun decorating with these different themes, and it's pretty enjoyable. But if you're looking for like a hardcore Animal Crossing experience, if you're looking for something with like challenge, that's not gonna be here. Nor do I think that's really the point of this DLC or Animal Crossing in general. I don't think that it would necessarily be better with difficulty, although I do think maybe having a ranking mode where, after a job, Lottie, your boss, will like look at it and be like, this isn't your best work, but a solid 4 out of 5. And this is another thing that Lottie said during the tutorial of this mode, which kind of got me thinking about some features they could add. Lottie mentioned that when you go onto the beach to look for a client, you might have to convince them a little bit, you should try and sell them on it a little bit, and I thought that would be like an actual mechanic. Like, you go to the beach, you're talking to a guy, you're like, oh, you're enjoying this beach, if you want like a private beach of your own, why don't you get a little vacation home over here, spend 100 grand and get yourself a nice little island, why not? I thought that there would be like a negotiating aspect to it. But there really isn't. You go up to someone on the beach, and they're immediately like, oh, hey, glad to see you. I was actually looking for a vacation home. You work for that realtor thing, right? It's like, there's no negotiation. You go there and they're always gonna want a house. It's not a big deal, and it's honestly how I expected it to be when I was going into this DLC. But just because Lottie mentioned that you might have to sell them on it, I thought that would be a funny mechanic. It sounds like something in Yakuza, like you're part of a realtor business and it's like a mini game to try and say the right things within the time limit so that you can sell the people on the house. I don't know, it just sounded kind of funny. A bigger complaint I have is the payment, because yes, you do get paid for your jobs, but not in bells, in this new currency called Poki or Pocky. I'm not really sure. It is the currency used on the island, and it is basically useless. At least right now, I have a suspicion that you might unlock more things to do with it as you maybe unlock more facilities, but as of right now, all I can do is spend it on items in the shop, which is my workplace, which when you really think about it, is probably illegal. The items themselves at the shop are okay. I've seen a couple of cool things there. I saw like a floating monitor and like an outdoor kitchen set, and I bought those. You can also buy these Souvenir Chocolates, which the way those work, you gift them to villagers on your island back home, and then they're like, oh, you got this from that vacation island that you work at? Oh, that's so cool, I would love to visit there. To which you can say, yeah, why don't we go right now? And then you go over there with whichever villager that you gave the gift to, and then while you're there, you can start up a job, and since they're on the beach, you can ask them, hey, do you want to vacation them? And then you can make a house for one of your favorite villagers, which is a really smart way of, tying the villagers back home that you have to, the villagers on the beach. I figured that it would be like a luck thing for a while. I thought that if you just got lucky, eventually maybe your favorite villager would appear there. But it's nice that there's an option to just kind of force it to happen. But even with that and like the occasionally cool items they have at the shop, I would just prefer if it was in bells, because low-key, I need money in this game right now. This big update just happened, and there are like a bunch of different things that I need to do, and they all require obscene amounts of money, and I am broke. And then I play the DLC, and they're paying me in this currency that is useless. I just think that it would better connect the regular Animal Crossing experience to the DLC and just kind of bridge those together better and make it like there's more of an incentive to do jobs, because right now the incentive is basically just it's fun, which I mean is a fair enough incentive. If your game's fun, people are gonna play it, and with this DLC it is fun and I do enjoy decorating the houses, but a reward would be nice, a better reward than Pokey. And lastly, my biggest gripe with the DLC, and this one just seems kind of dumb, you can only work 3 times a day. You can do 3 jobs per day, 3 houses per day, and that's it. Then Lottie is like, you should take some time off, and then you are forced basically to stop playing this DLC that you paid $25 for, and that's kind of dumb. I know that that's Animal Crossing's MO, where it's constantly just telling you, you can't do this right now, you've already done this today, or, oh, you gotta wait until tomorrow to do this. But it's like, I get that with, regular Animal Crossing, but when I'm paying extra for this DLC, it feels kinda lame when you cut me off after 3, like I'm a drunk guy at a bar who's getting a little bit too crazy. It's like one of those things that's expected of Animal Crossing, it just cuts a little deeper when I'm paying extra for this, and then you're like, no, you can't play. Overall though, I do really like the DLC. I think it's super fun. I think what would make it even better is some sort of multiplayer mode where you can maybe compete to see who has the better decorated house, or I don't know, some sort of multiplayer aspect there would be kind of fun. But as it stands, I do really like it. Decorating is fun. It's presented really nicely, as it should, because it's New Horizons and that game is beautiful. The controls are fantastic. They make decorating super easy, super fluid, and it's just one of the most enjoyable Animal Crossing experiences to have. If you're looking for something to play that is low stress, very little, like, you know, management or anything like that, this Animal Crossing DLC is a really fun option. It's just chilled out, decorating, having fun with villagers, having a grand old time. With that said though, if you guys have been playing the DLC, please let me know if you're enjoying it, if you are not enjoying it. If you got it through the NSO online thing, let me know that, just because that's kind of weird. I don't know, it's funny. I haven't heard anyone who was like, you know, I wasn't gonna upgrade to the Nintendo Online thing, but they really got me by adding the Animal Crossing DLC to it. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling now. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you all later. Peace.